Welcome to Balancing Light, episode 2. I've been putting this off for a really long time. I'm sorry, guys. So, episode 2 is all about the sacral chakra. Now, to begin, where is the sacral chakra? So, in our last video, Balancing Light, we talked about our root chakra, which is in the bottom area of our spine. And our sacral chakra is, let me get on my knees to show you. So the sacral chakra is this area down here, right, in our pelvic area. This is associated with guilt. It gets fogged when you have too much guilt. It gets fogged when you feel like you're not worthy of something, you feel guilty of something, period. So what is its polar? Its polar is pleasure. This sacral chakra is so important because it has to do with inward energy, which is huge. It also has to do with passion, it has to do with sex, and it has to do with the movement of your waters inside of you. What is this water? What does this water consist of? It consists of reproductive things, fluids. It consists of emotions and social aspects. So this chakra is orange. And when meditating, it is important to think about the color that each chakra is associated with. Now, how can you tell, other than the fact if you're feeling guilty, if your sacral chakra is having complications or is been mudded up? Well, there are a couple things: lower back pain, menstrual issues, and anything wrong with the pelvic area. Really, those are just signs that your body is telling you that you need to heal this area, right? So how do we go about healing this area? First, we think about guilt, right? And we want to go through all of the things that we feel. Like, why do you feel guilty? So let's take an example. Let's say you had an argument with your friend and you may have said some things that you didn't intend to say, or that they came out wrong because you found yourself on a wave of emotions because a pillar got activated. Pillars are in the last video as well to explain. So you're sitting there. I feel guilty for what I said. I feel guilty for making them feel a certain way. I feel guilty for saying things that I did not mean. I feel guilty for doing things to somebody else that I necessarily would not want to be done to me. So after you go through all of these things of the reasons why you feel guilty, you have found them. You've identified the things that are making you feel guilty. Now, 2, you have to take away their power. You have to take away their power by forgiving yourself for doing that in the first place. And how do you do that? You forgive yourself by acknowledging the fact that you were aware of the fact that you did something wrong and that you hurt somebody and you didn't like how you were acting. That means that you're reflecting on your soul. That means you're thinking for yourself. That means you're not just acting out and not caring how you're affecting the world, right? And then you take it a step further and you start to think, well, why do I care? Well, you care because you understand everything is connected. And even if you don't understand this completely, you're at a soul level, your higher conscious knows. It knows why it doesn't feel comfortable with the way that you've acted. It knows why you feel this guilt and why you're fogging your area. It's telling you that everything is connected. And this is such an important aspect to keep tied in with every chakra as you move up, because once you get to your third eye, it's going to be the key to unlocking it so that you can get to your crown chakra. So a practice you can think of, even outside of the example, like whatever situation you could possibly think of, these things happened and now they've gone. You have to forgive yourself. So now how can you implement these new ideas? Well, you're going to do it this way. These things have gone, even though they happened. So what are you going to do every day? You're going to do things to make sure that they don't happen again. You're going to play games with your subconscious mind to teach it how to act in situations. You're going to learn how to take the power away from those pillars that you have inside of your mind. You're going to do the work to understand how to clear self, how to love self. And by loving self, you have to understand that you have to love all others, right? Because why? People are mirrors. People use other people to mirror things inside of them that they cannot see themselves. They use other people so that they can see things that need healing or need change. And this is often why some people don't like being around other people, because they help them see parts of themselves that they may not necessarily like, or they may see parts of themselves that they're not understanding because they don't understand the fact or the concept of the mirroring of other people. So before I jump into specific practices that you can do, the last thing I would say is, after you go through those feelings of I feel, like why you feel guilty, now start to feel why you feel good, like why you are worthy, because you are worthy. You're always worthy. And you will also have your body screaming out to you, trying to tell you that you are, if you are convinced that you are not, right? So this is why I say that to be aware that you need to change, or to be aware that you've made a mistake, that means you are worthy. That means your conscious is active and understanding of what all is. And you have to be very proud of yourself of that. Some people are not even at the stage where they want to accept that they're doing anything wrong. Sometimes when people get in fights with other people, they're like, oh, well, they deserve it. That's what it is, blah, 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 blah. The thing is, you get to a point where you have to raise your conscious. You have to be on a higher frequency, and to do that, you have to understand that whether somebody deserves it or not, that is not your place to judge, because you've been in their shoes. We've all been the person who isn't doing right, and we've all been the person who's doing good and doesn't deserve things, right? There's a Bible verse when Jesus is in town with his disciples, and this woman comes to him, and she has committed adultery. And in the new world, being stoned for adultery was seen as normal. And the disciples asked Jesus, what do you want us to do with the woman? And Jesus said, the first person to pick up a stone should be the person who has never sinned before. And everybody walked away. So on this path to enlightenment, the biggest thing that you have to practice to understand and to realize is that once you get on this train of doing right by others, and this train of reflecting when you've done wrong, you have to keep in mind always that you have no place to judge, and that is not your position. And the only position you should be holding is judgment within self, making self better, because every time you make yourself better, people are going to notice, and people are going to want that for themselves as well. You change one thing, you put more positivity to the source gets more positive. That's just how it works. One source, everything's affected, everything's connected. So some practices you can do are yoga. For the sacral chakra in particular, warrior 2 pose, goddess pose, and the pigeon pose are great meditation poses to help heal the sacral chakra. Oils you can use are sandalwood, orange, rose, or ylang ylang. Crystals you can use citron or amber. Foods, oranges, yams, really any food that is orange. Please don't use candy. Sugar is not good for our bodies. I can do a video on that if you guys would like. There's a lot of stuff about sugar and how it is not good for you, and how actually if you're craving sugar, it actually correlates with a chakra that you need to heal. But that's a different chakra. We're not going to get to that right now. So the sound that you want to use while doing your yoga, your meditation is VOM, V-O-M. And when you do it, you want to focus on the vibration going all the way down to your sacral chakra. So you can focus on it going through your throat, past your heart, past your solar, right into your sacral. So VOM. after you go through your poses and everything, and you start to, it is a wrap. After you start to learn the chakras through and through, a practice that I like to do in the morning is going through them all very quickly. It takes about a minute. I'll start with my root chakra, and I'll tell myself I am rooted in all things. All of my basic survival instincts are being needed. I am rooted in myself. I love myself. I love where I am. I love every step of my journey. Any setback I accept as a learning experience. Any setback I also accept as my body and my being trying to teach me something new so I can continue to progress. In my sacral chakra, I am not guilty of anything, because I understand that even with the mistakes that I make, I am still worthy of all things, because I am aware and I am always constantly trying to heal so that I can have a touch that never hurts. Being aware so that I can teach myself how to communicate and how to be a better person, and in all that, knowing too that I am already worthy while I'm in progress of being this better person. Number 3 would be my solar plexus, where I tell myself that I am not ashamed of anything, and that will be episode 3 of the solar plexus. I'm not ashamed of anything. I understand that every step, everything I take in, everything I encompass, everything I let go of is a part of my journey. It's part of the process, so I can reach my highest conscious being, so I can be all that my soul was intended to be, so I can play out this whole journey. Third would be loss, accepting loss. Then you have your throat, your truth, you have your third eye of everything being connected, and then you go up to your crown, being one with all that is. I didn't want to go too in depth on the other guys because I want you guys to keep watching the videos. So episode 3 of Balancing Light will be all about the solar plexus. Thank you guys for learning about the sacral chakra today. One love. See you soon.